3 different questions and I can't decide between them. Do you want to do a choose your own adventure?
Yes.
Okay, so kind of a plotline idea like they just asked, or inspirational philosophical, or advice.
Ooh, advice.
Advice.
Oh, that's always fun.
I am 28 years old, 29 years old, and I'm trying to get into acting. And I'm wondering if you have advice for someone who's trying to get into acting a little bit older than most young actors who have lots of energy and might be thinner.
No, that doesn't matter. No,
You have a voice.
Your body has no substance on how good you are at your craft. But
Where are you? Where do you live?
Yeah, I live here in Seattle. I would love to move to Vancouver. I'm absolutely in love with Vancouver.
Yeah.
Okay, for my money, my advice is anything that's active, scene study classes, get yourself on set so you see how things work there. Live stage, you will never go wrong doing theater. It's all experience and it's all getting that muscle honed and trained. You can know all the shit in the world, but if you haven't done it, like I can read about how to run a marathon. No. Acting is a muscle, and it also is scary. So it takes a great deal of, oh, this actually isn't going to kill me, even if I do feel like I can die of shame. So getting yourself, just find excuses to student films, anything where there's a university that wants talent or people, just do it.
Constantly do. And that's why even when I moved to Vancouver, I had been acting for years in theater and still didn't know anybody, couldn't get involved in anything, so I was doing student films. I was doing readings. You just go to classes. You can audit classes sometimes for free, because that shit gets expensive too, but just constantly doing, you'll meet people, slowly you'll start building a network. Just gotta constantly be doing and meeting people, and don't say no, just say yes.
And don't try to figure out what they want.
Yes.
Because they don't know. Go in with your voice, because that's the only thing you can do that's better than what anybody else can do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Trust yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, last question. Let's do it. Come on. Bring her home. Here we go. I feel good.
So I was wondering,
Yes.
I'm speaking for a lot of people here and at other conventions, but we usually come here because we find inspiration in the actors and actresses that come.
And Steve.
And I was wondering what your inspirations were now or growing up.
Oh. And there's Mike. Welcome. We're discussing. Speaking of inspirations.
Yes.
Talking about somebody who, right here, this dude, has the most grounded sense of effervescent joy. I fucking love you. I love you. I love watching you. My inspiration growing up was my mom. My inspiration now is my husband and my daughter. My daughter teaches me courage. My daughter teaches me perspective. My daughter teaches me to go balls to the wall and seriously shows me what it looks like. She's 8. Guys, and she does not give a fuck. She truly doesn't give a single flying fuck. And it's impossible, and it's insane to try to parent, but it's wonderful. So she's my inspiration.
My inspiration is definitely my mom. My mom grew up in not great circumstances. My father's blind, and so she's also kind of caring for him. And she never, ever, 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 ever gives up. So that's that. So follow her lead. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
I'm going to go on a limb and say there's a lot of people in this audience who find you too inspirational. I think that's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Just the two of us. Oh yeah. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just the two of them, Bobby. Just the two of us. Just two right there. Building castles in the sky. Just the two of us. You and I. Somebody's feeling pretty good about themselves right about now, aren't they, Robot Mike?
Affirmative, Rich.
I've never seen you put more stank on the bass, and you're like, I'm playing the two of us. I'm gonna play. Kim loves me. Good work.
Thank you, Rich.
You know, it's like we love Kim and Briana. We're like, oh no, they left stage. Here's the thing. They'll be here tonight for the karaoke party. And a lot of people say, well, I want more. Kim and Briana, I know we say that. So we're going to make sure that they're at the Saturday night special tomorrow night with Wild and Swain. You have a lot more of those ladies coming. But now we're moving on to the fellas. It's time to bring out our first dude of the day. You know him, you love him, you wonder what he's going to be dressed as. Ladies and gentlemen, Osric Chow. You know who he's dressed as? Me.
I mean, I was gonna say, I wore clothes, so yay for me.
You're dressed as you wearing clothes. We're so used to Osric running around nude backstage. If you could just see for 5 minutes how often he's nude backstage.
No, but I was barefoot for like the first hour I was here. The carpet felt really nice on my feet.
That's gross. It's a hotel. Ooh. Dude, that is, I mean, you should go lick a shower if you think that is awful.
Hey, Osric, what
Sweet
city
Jesus.
was it where you were Baymax? Is that Seattle?
Was it? No, it wasn't Seattle.
That was fun.
Denver.
Oh,
I think that was Denver.
fantastic.
That was,
It ran out of air.
no, Gil popped me.
Oh, he popped you, right?
Yeah, that was the greatest thing you've ever been a
Gil
part
Dirty
of.
danced on you as Baymax.
Yeah, he came out as Baymax and he's in the full thing. Robbie's not lying, that's how he moved. Let's just really spell it out for the people. Gil got excited by Baymax and dry humped Baymax on stage.
It wasn't very dry.
Apparently he wasn't, like I said, apparently he wasn't firing blanks because he popped it. And all we saw was the thing like around.
It's like, it's like a suit that it's filled with air, right?
Yeah.
So he's like walking around like this, and all of a sudden he just was like,
I thought it was a bit. But then, Robbie, the oddest part was when it got inflated, it was like almost flat. Suddenly, it gave birth like a phoenix from the
Osric,
ashes of Osric. Like,
I've never laughed so hard in my life. Like, it was fantastic.
I thought it was your entrance, and it wasn't. And you were like perturbed and disturbed.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause really,
I didn't know it was deflating until like halfway through.
well, also, because you get here and you're like, I didn't know what was happening to me. Like, I just hear Gil go, well, look what we have here. Zippity boop bop bop like it.
That was a fun costume. I'm gonna wear
That
it
was
again.
really fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Osric Chow.
Thanks, guys. Oh, they're gone. So, good morning. Let's see. I'll start with my week. So, I went back to Vancouver on Tuesday to visit my family. My mom's going to Australia on Sunday, and I went to see her. And I was gonna do a road trip down to here and then go back, but then I had an audition yesterday in LA, and so I flew from Vegas to LA to Vancouver to LA, did the audition, and then came in last night. I think this is a record. I've already taken 4 flights this week, and it's only Friday, so, so I'm a little sleepy. But exciting news. So, over the last couple of months, or I should say a year, I've been really focused on story development and script development, and me and a couple of friends, we've kind of had this, not really a race, but we've all like had these stories in mind that we wanted to like write and develop into scripts that we're gonna do. And last night, right before my flight, it was my friend's birthday, and he's like, I finished it, he sent it off to me, I read it on the plane, and I absolutely love it. And so that's where we are with story development, if you have heard me talk about it. So it's a football movie, and I don't really know much about football, except I know that I love football movies, and I don't know why. Like, I don't understand the rules, that people just run around into each other, but it's so exciting, and I don't think I've ever watched a football movie that I didn't like. Football movie and boxing movies, both of those, just really like them. And so we got a football movie that I'm really excited about. Anyways, football movie. And I've always wanted to play football, but I went to a very academic school, so we didn't have football. We didn't even have wrestling. We had soccer, because all you need is a ball. All right. Academic schools. Hi.
Hello. So my question question is, we all know that you love to cosplay. And my question is, what got you into cosplaying and what has been your favorite outfit to cosplay in?
Start off with Halloween. When I was a kid, and I have an older brother and a younger brother, and we're about 3 years between all three of us. And my mom would always come up with our costumes, and I think for the first 5 years we did it, all three of us were ninjas every single time. Because it was really easy to just put on black clothes and a mask. And then one year I decided I wanted to go out of the ninja. I mean, I love ninjas, but I wanted to try something different. So when I was 9, I made my own costume, and I was Steve Urkel from Family Matters. And it was really easy because I already had all the clothes, and I just asked my mom if she can find me suspenders, and then I already had glasses, and I just went around talking really nasally, and it was the most fun I ever had. Though not everyone knew what it was, but it was a lot of fun. So I think that's where it started, and then in high school we bought a refrigerator, and we had a box that I eventually made into a SpongeBob outfit. And it went over so well that the next year I decided to make another cardboard creation, and I did Kirby. And so if you don't know Kirby, it's from Nintendo. It's this big pink poof ball. And in my mind, I wanted to be in this big round ball and just float around school. And so I started building this. I had YouTube didn't really exist back then, and so it was just kind of figure it yourself. So I had a cardboard. And so I built this frame of cardboard, a huge circle, and I started building this cage. And after I finished it, I realized that it wouldn't fit through the door. Okay, so I had to restart. And so I built it maybe there, so half the size, and covered it in pink garbage bags and kind of made it all pretty. And then I had a fake floor that was a cloud that I just covered in cotton balls, and it was still so big that I needed my mom's minivan to transport it anywhere. It was so impractical, but it was a lot of fun, and I was getting older at the time, and I came to the realization that I could trick or treat as old as I want to be, as long as I have a huge costume. I've since lost my taste for candy so much, and I also realized it was a lot less effort to just buy it after Halloween. So I did that, and then me and my martial arts club, we were really into Power Rangers, and so we went as Power Rangers Dino Thunder, and so we built our masks out of paper mache, and it took a month for all of us, but we did it together as a group, and then I went out and bought lady spandex, and that was the first time I put on women's clothes. And it wasn't the last, yeah, you're right. Yeah, my coach told me not to come back. Because they're really tight. Anyways. There's a dancer's belt that I wear. Okay. So, yeah, I think that kind of started it off. And then Seattle Comic Con was happening, and I had a friend that went down, and so I just joined them for a few years, and cosplaying wasn't really that big, and so that happened. And then probably the year I started on Supernatural, that's when I started going to cons. As an attendee again, and it's been so long, but just to see the change in it. So San Diego Comic Con was the first one, and so I started dressing up for that, and then this one time there's this mishap where I had a costume for a convention, and then I ended up working, so I had the costume, but I didn't have the con to go to, and I was going to a creation one as a guest, and it was my second time, and in my head, attendee and guest weren't different things, so I just came up on stage covered in pink, and that's kind of how it started. It's been fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Was anyone at that? I think it was Dallas, where I came out as Princess Bubblegum.
Yep.
Okay. was a good moment. Bye.
Hi. So in one of the episodes, you have the alias Kevin Solo, and you have a line where you say, "Because I'm Kevin freaking Solo." I'm wondering, is that a reference to Han Solo, or is that a reference to Napoleon
It's
Solo?
not Han Solo.
From Man from Uncle.
Obviously, Napoleon Solo. It's Kevin, character Kevin, is really into that stuff.
You suck,
Star Wars
Odric.
and, like,
He's never seen Star Wars.
an unpopular opinion. I've never watched Star Wars. But you know what I have seen? Zootopia. It's a really good movie. Deadpool is really fun too. But really, Zootopia was such a good movie. I think it was definitely Kevin freaking Solo, Han Solo reference. But if Zootopia had come out, it would have been a Zootopia reference for sure.
Thank you.
Well,
One,
Yeah.
you're my hero for not watching Star Wars because I've never seen any of the original ones, and I only saw the last one with my boyfriend, and I fell asleep.
really, I saw 10 minutes of Attack of the Clones, and I fell asleep.
Don't boo yourself.
Fair enough, that's the worst one.
Yeah, it wasn't very exciting. Even my friends didn't like it.
But yes, I've never met anyone who else hasn't seen it. So thank you.
There's not very many of us, but we exist. There you go.
And my question is actually another cosplay question. And what is your advice for when you plan a cosplay, you have everything sorted, and then it falls through?
Advice for when it falls through? I mean, if it falls through, it falls through.
Like
Right?
it was heartbreaking for me because it was gonna be my first time.
Okay. This is kind of the same way you should really approach anything in life. You know, you plan things, and sometimes you get there, sometimes you don't, right? But the important thing, you know, it's the journey that counts. It really is the journey that counts. If you're making your costume and this is your first time, the fact that you're even going through that process is an incredible thing. You learn how to put things together, and maybe it doesn't turn out exactly as you like, but if it was fun, and if it holds together and it covers enough of your body parts, put it on and just, you know, make the best of it. That's part of the fun of it, is to go in the community. Honestly, even if you have like a wonky costume, honestly, some of the best costumes are made of cardboard. If you ever think of doing cosplay but you have no idea, start with cardboard. It's really fun, it's sturdy, easily taped, and I mean, you can do a lot with it. You can draw on it. Okay. I love cardboard. I think that's my favorite material. But it doesn't have to be perfect, right? When I first moved out of my house, I moved in to this house with a group of filmmakers, and we were going to, like, that was going to be our main goal. Like, none of us were going to school. We were like, okay, we're gonna make projects constantly. We'll do it every week, and you know, this is us trying to create something. We lived together for 2 years, and we only did 2 projects, even though we said we were going to do like 1 a month. And it always came down to like, this is such a good idea, such a good script, but we don't have that. We need that person. It could be better if we waited until we had that resource. And there was always something that came up that wasn't going to be perfect. And so the biggest takeaway that I took from living in that house and creating almost nothing was, don't try to make a masterpiece right away. I mean, you're gonna try, but don't let it stop you if it's not gonna get there. So we did 2 projects, and the only reason why we finished those 2 projects was because we signed up for these contests, and they gave us a deadline, and we finished it, we handed it in, and every time we're like, oh, okay, we could make it so much better if we had more time. We'll hand it in, and then we'll kind of do over, or like polish it out. We never did. But like years later, we still look back and you're like, yeah, that wasn't bad. I'm glad we did it. We learned a lot. And so, same with cosplay. I think one of the biggest thing is just to try it and to do it. And you know, you fail what you originally intended, but you probably succeed in something else, which is doing it. So take those lessons and do it better the next time. And that's part of the fun of it. You know, especially if you go to a con, and there's this one costume that always pops up. It's cosplay repair kit, and it's just a guy or girl like covered in tape and safety pins and needles and thread, and they just walk around, and if they see someone who has a costume that needs fixing, they'll just like start fixing their costume. And it's like the best, I don't know, it's like the coolest thing because it really is about that community. And sometimes it's really easy to think of it as a competition. It's like, oh, I want to be better than that person, whatever, but it's not really that, you know, it's just a celebration of your fandom, and that's really what it comes down to. And it's a nice way to learn arts and crafts. So just put yourself in art class and hand it in, you know, just do it. You'll at least pass if you hand it in.
Thank you, Oz.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Ooh, that's really loud. Sorry. So first I was wondering real quick if you would consider marrying me. And second, I know that you were in some videos with the Hollywood show before you did the Supernatural one. So I wanted to know how you came to be a part of the Hollywood kind of team.
Okay. My mom's gonna hate me for this, but I don't know if I believe in the institution of marriage, for one. If you're European, I kind of want to work in Europe.
I can.
Okay, that was a good answer. Wait, what was your second question?
How you came to be part of the Hollywood show.
Okay, right. So I met Hiller and Hannah in this convention in Spain, and it was probably one of the strangest conventions I'd ever been to. But we got along really well. We came in together, got picked up, and so in the car I'm like, oh, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, we just make little videos online. And I'm like, can I see? And so they gave me their cards, and I looked them up, and the first one I saw was the Doctor Who parody, and I thought, I'm like, I cannot believe they did this. Like from a filmmaking perspective, I'm like, the set looks amazing. They had a jib running, like technically it was just so impressive for, you know, just two girls that started filming things. And so I was just so impressed that the next day I'm like, you totally undersold yourself. I'm like, you should be really excited about these things because it's really good. And so we just ended up hanging out a lot that weekend, and was it, I guess like a month later, I get a message from Hillary. She's like, hey, we're doing Walking Dead. I'm like, I kept asking, like, when are you doing a Supernatural parody? I think that was the thing I kept bothering them about. They said they were doing a Walking Dead parody, and asked me if I wanted to be Glenn, and I'm like, yeah, I want to be Glenn. So we did the Walking Dead parody in Georgia, and it was a lot of fun. And then I kept asking them to do a Supernatural parody until they actually did. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like I don't like to discount anybody. And this is one of those things where it was really easy, especially because they didn't really like talking about themselves, you know, and we're in a room full of like some of the cast from Harry Potter, Merlin, Game of Thrones, you know, it was really easy to like talk to any of those guys, you know, and so everyone had something to talk about, and they weren't really proud of their videos, and then when I saw them, like, you should be so proud, and it's really cool how it worked out, so I'm glad. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. And they're doing a Sherlock parody right now, which should be pretty cool. I hear they're going to like London and stuff for that. So like just for amateur filmmaking to like travel to so many places is incredible. Yeah. So Helen, tell me about Europe.
Hi, so this is another cosplay question, but I know that you sometimes do female cosplays, and I'm personally want to one day do cosplay, but right now I just like to do makeup. So my question is, if you're ever gonna do another female cosplay, would you ever consider maybe doing makeup along with it?
Yeah, I mean, some of the best cosplay is only makeup.
Yeah,
Wow.
I totally agree.
The first time I ever got, I moved to Beijing in 2010, and I lived there for a bit. And the first month I didn't meet any English-speaking people just so that I could learn Chinese. But the second month I was desperate because I really wanted to speak English again. So I went on the classifieds and I answered every single message. And one of the ads was looking for a male model. I'm like, I'm no Zoolander, but I answered. I'm like,
The second one, by the way.
I haven't. I heard it wasn't the first.
Yeah, I work at a movie theater. It didn't last the first week.
I know. It's no Zootopia. But...
No, definitely not.
So I answered this ad for male models. That sounds so weird when I say male models now. For models.
Just put a
Period.
whole different idea into everyone's head.
And so I showed up to this random warehouse in this industrial district. I'm like, all right. And I stripped down to my underwear.
All great love stories start like that.
This is weird. It was really cold too. It was winter in Beijing, and the heater was broken. I'm like, oh, this is cold. And then they started painting me, and so they painted me this purple suit. And there's pictures online somewhere. And it was not something that I ever thought I would do, but it was fun. Lost a good pair of underwear. She painted over the underwear and it got super crusty. I'm like, I want to wear this again, but no. So I actually threw it away. Which is kind of a bummer now that I think about it. And the painter, we ended up hanging out, and she's my best friend in Beijing. So, yeah, that was really fun, and we've done a couple since. But yeah, the painting thing is.
If you do special effects makeup, maybe.
Yeah, the one thing with that type of paint, I guess, it smeared really easily, so I wouldn't go through a whole day just because of sweat and stuff. I think there's certain paint that lasts a lot longer. Yeah, I mean, special effects makeup, prosthetics and stuff, if you're into that, there's so much you can do. And making it the main thing is really cool, but sometimes, just little accentuations is all it takes. Yeah, try a cardboard costume and throw a horn in there or something.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering, when you're traveling or if you're on a road trip, what kind of music or traveling tunes you like to listen to?
Music isn't really a big thing in my life. My dad was a classical music major at one point, and he got me and my brothers into playing piano at a very early age. So I played piano from when I was 5 until I was 11, and I played drums a little bit, clarinet in school band, glockenspiel in cadets. A lot of random things, violin for a little bit, recorder, everyone had to learn. So I played a lot of musical instruments, but I never really liked it. And I was really rebellious against my older brother. And so anything he did, I would do the opposite. And so music was one of those things. He listened to music. And so I really didn't listen to music until late elementary school, beginning of high school. And the first song I remember listening to was, It's Jason is Chasing Waterfalls. Do you know that song? TLC? All right. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Not Jason.
You tried. You tried.
That's the first song I remember listening to when I finally let my mom turn on the radio in the car. That played. And then I got really into Backstreet Boys. It was a big thing. And yeah, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera, Eminem, that was pretty much it. And then, I don't know, nowadays, sometimes I prefer silence over music. I'll put headphones in, but nothing's playing. And it's just, I don't know, I get distracted really easy, and so if something is playing, I'll start listening to the lyrics. But usually I have so many things that I'm trying to prepare for or plan or think about that I'll just, zone out. So even in the car when I'm driving, like I'll turn off the radio and I'll just like space out. I mean, I can still drive, but you know, I'm just like thinking of all the things, whether it's like rehearsing lines or a story I'm writing or, you know, things I need to do. And I think, okay, you know, when I moved to Beijing, this was telling. I moved to China for like 3 years, and I had like 100 songs in my iTunes. And when I left, I still had those same 100 songs and nothing else. And I didn't even notice, right? I'm like, oh, I've been listening to the same 100 songs for 3 years. And, and when I came back, all these things started popping up on the radio. I'm like, what is this? When did this come out? And then someone told me that like songs only last about 6 months and new ones are always made. I don't know, for me it was like such a big revelation. I'm like, what? Really? I thought songs were made and like that's it. I don't know, it was a weird thing. I guess everything in my mind was like Mozart. I'm like, yeah, you know, yeah, Beethoven, Mozart, Backstreet Boys, Eminem. That was it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I should expand my playlist. Hi.
Hi. So, fourth cosplay question.
Thanks for counting.
What's your favorite part about cosplaying, or kind of your inspiration to continue doing it?
It's fun, and I think that's all it really is. You know, it's fun. It's just putting your fandom on your sleeve. That's it. You know, like these things I enjoy, and so I celebrate it, and not ashamed of it. And at a con, this is actually probably the funnest thing. If you've never cosplayed and you decide to go to a con, especially if you're alone, sometimes you can dress as one thing that you like, and you can dress as, like, let's say Pokemon is my thing, and I go to a con, and I'm on my own, I would dress as Jesse or James. Then I go around the con, and sometimes you'll just see another person as James or Jesse, like your counterpart, and right away you guys make eye contact, and it's like, you know you have something in common, and that's just kind of how it happens, and it's like it's a really weird thing, but it's really fun, and it's an easy way to make friends. It's just like you come to a Supernatural con, you know everyone here has at least one thing in common, right? You've probably seen at least one episode of the show. So, there's that, right? So, cosplaying for me is, you know, you go to these events for all these things, and it's a nice way to meet people, and just, it's like an icebreaker, right? Like, nice costume. Gabriel. I saw that episode. Yeah, you know, it's just something to talk about, really, and especially, I mean, I don't think it's as much anymore, but, you know, there was that stigma of, you know, a lot of geeks and nerds not being super antisocial and stuff, but, yeah, the cosplay community isn't so, not as much. I feel like it's the opposite, if anything. So, yeah, but fun is the main point of that.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hi.
Hi. Mine's a supernatural question.
Well, what's that?
Are you coming back? You and Mama Trent, are you coming back?
Am I coming back?
Or they send you off to heaven?
I wish they invited more writers here so that we could ask those questions. We'd all be in line. Am I coming back? Are you gonna resurrect me? It'd just be us lining up asking all the hard questions, and then they would stop coming. This show. Have you seen the show? They can literally do anything they want. So, yes, I could come back. Yes, I could not come back. I could come back as someone else. I could come back in, I don't know, probably 12+ forms.
Well, we miss you.
I could come back as a teddy bear. I could come back European. There we go.
Thank you.